compiled with being in the healthcare profession, that I knew what all of the tests leading up to the final diagnosis actually indicated. So when we got that initial or the final result of his biopsy, it was shocking, but also like, oh gosh, I knew it. I knew that this was happening. And then my next response was like, how do I talk to him about it? And so that was super challenging for both of us. Me knowing I wanted to get it fixed right away, and he was a little bit more, let's look at all the options. And I thought I kind of knew all of the options. So definitely shocking. I think with being part of the healthcare field, I was able to disseminate information for him. I was there to just be a shoulder to cry on. And honestly, it was a very lonely time for me. I had to decide what I was going to share and what I wasn't. But for him, he's such a strong man that at 56, something like this is not supposed to happen to you. And so, like, being his wife, I knew all of the things about what he was going through, but it honestly was super challenging for me. And at points, I literally was like, I don't know what to say, like throwing my hands up to say, I'm giving you information, but maybe you're not ready for it, or just kind of trapped in that cycle of just not knowing what to do or say. Yeah, we definitely, it wasn't like we were part of a group or a chat or an online thing. However, just my resources of where I work was a huge thing, and those doctors, and really getting past not wanting the surgical option and what are the other options that he could do for treatment of prostate cancer. But not only that, our family and friends are amazing. They are, supportive. They were there for us. One of our biggest challenges was that we didn't know who to share it with. He wasn't ready to share it with everybody. I wanted the support. So there was this very uneasy until we got enough information. And that was just really, honestly, internet searching to find options. So many options, it was overwhelming, for sure. All three of them are very different. We knew how Lindsay would respond. She's in Spain. We knew she would want to come back immediately, and she would be much more emotional on the topic. But the boys, it was funny. Our little one, Chase, he's like, well, he's going to be okay, right? And he was more of like a defensive, like everything's going to be all right type thing. And then came back later and said, Mom, I went up and cried, like I don't want anything bad to happen to him. And then our middle one was at college, and we waited, until he came home to share, not in a scary way, like this is prostate cancer. Rather, we have something that's going on that we need to treat, and there's going to be some uncomfortable moments, but that we're going to get through it on the other side. And then, of course, our faith, especially Leonard's faith. Sometimes when he's like, God has this, I'm like, what? What can I do? I want to try to fix something. And so, the combo of being a fixer and faith came together to help us make the best possible decision, and to share it with our children, that they weren't scared, rather hopeful. Yeah. And this isn't just for my sons, it's for really men and women, just regular checks. You go to the doctor every year, whether you feel good about it or not, because the preventative medicine part is where you see the success. In my career, it's the people that denied it, that waited 5 years before going to the doctor. And so that's truly the advice I have for all three of the children. But honestly, for Connor and Chase, with prostate health being, I don't want to use the word taboo, but it is, and a lot of people and men don't want to talk about it, that you get the prostate exam and the rectal exam and anything that the doctor does to put you in the best possible situation to get full treatment and cure from anything that happens to you. If you don't have medical background, you need to get second opinions, second and third opinions. Look at all of your options. Get online. I know they say don't Google stuff, and don't necessarily Google to see the worst of things, but Google for resources. So I feel like there's prostate groups that are out there. There's all these different cancer groups that you can get on and ask those questions. And I think that knowledge is power. And of course, prostate health, it depends on what kind of cancer you have, where it is, what your situation is. So obviously your treatment options are different, but it's just gathering as much information. And then when you do choose a procedure or a doctor, that when you're there, you're not fearful of asking questions, stop them. If you don't understand the words that they're using, ask them again. And then when you are thinking about being a caregiver, that you are knowing exactly what that means. Do you understand the education that they're giving? Do you know how to take care of the catheter or whatever other treatment requirements there are? Ultimately, it was the return to lifestyle. The urinary incontinence, the erectile dysfunction, some of those lifetime side effects that can come from radiation, radical prostatectomy, some of these other options. Not to say it's still not a risk with anytime you have prostate cancer, the side effects are out there for everybody. But this was definitely an option that allowed Leonard to get back to his lifestyle of working out, being vibrant, not losing the things that are important as a man. From my perspective, it was just a relief to have an option that was not so devastating to somebody's entire manhood and just sense of self. Just stay connected with your partner. I think it's most important, even if you don't agree, that you always are there for one another, because emotionally it's very devastating to get a cancer diagnosis. And living after a cancer diagnosis for myself, I just needed to know that I was going to be okay and that my support system loved me the same regardless of what the side effects ended up being. So that's ultimately my advice. Get second opinions, ask lots of questions, and just be there for one another and draw on your support group. And don't be afraid to ask questions.